I wasn't sure which one. I just didn't remember which one you could.
Good morning. Welcome to the, looks like it's November 19th, Technical Review Committee. Looks like we don't have any minutes this time. Okay, we'll do that next time. Welcome all. Thank you for being here today. Our first item is going, it looks like we've got item number 1. We have a request to remove from the agenda. If I could have a motion to that effect, please.
Second.
What was that, Karen? Microphones? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, LBC Properties on Highway 331 has been removed from this agenda. Items 2, 3, and 4 are all requests to continue to the December 3rd, 2025 Technical Review Committee meeting at this location. If I could have a motion to that effect, please.
Motion to continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, looks like G&S Glass, True South, and Wolf Creek Residential Development Phase 2 will all be continued to December 3rd at this location. That leaves us to item number 5, lot 3296 Burnt Pine East 2.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is item number 5. It's lot 3296, Burnt Pine East 2. This is a request to approve by development order. It's project number MIN 25-000133. This is a minor development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Engineering, LLC, on behalf of DTJ Properties, LLC. They're requesting to reconfigure lot 3296 by adding an additional 0.07 plus or minus acres to the lot from the adjacent Burnt Pines Golf Course and modifying the existing stormwater on 0.35 plus or minus acres. The parcel has a future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of coastal center. The property is located in District 4 and located from the east gate of Sandestin Resort to Baytown Lane West. It is on Burnt Pine Lane and can be identified by the parcel numbers in your staff report. If you would please enter the staff report into the record.
So entered.
This is a simple reconfiguration of lot 3296. They're just adding 0.07 acres from the golf course, this is part of the Sandestin DRI, so there will be a small percentage of drawdown from the open space. There's only minor planning comments, and that's just addressing the original development order. We just need to modify this amendment to reflect the changes from that original development order done in '22. Other than that, there is no other outstanding comments, except for we are waiting for environmental, but I do not expect any major concerns from the environmental review. If you have any questions, I'll answer those.
Questions for staff? I have maybe a couple here. What does that drawdown currently look like? Is there any issues with consistency with the original approval, or are they?
This drawdown will be reflected on the next biannual report, which will be 26, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a small drawdown from what I think Kelly is finalizing on the existing drawdown. So these changes won't be reflected until the 26, but I'm not concerned with that minimal change in the open space at this time.
Okay. So the subject site is currently vacant, is that what
Yes, the residential lot is vacant. And the 22 development order consisted of the 2 lots, and that's what I've asked the site plan to reflect.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dean Burgess with Emerald Coast Associates. I agree with what Rosanna said in her presentation. The comments are minor in nature, and just to give you a little more information on the open space, we have about it's between 30 and 35 acres of excess open space currently. So 0.07 acres isn't going to put a dent in it. Yeah. But we've already responded to all the comments that we've received. We're just waiting on environmental.
Okay. Is there any environmental concerns on this site?
No, there's not.
And so this is essentially just making an existing residential lot a bit larger.
Right. So they can fit a pool and, some of the things that they wanted to do.
Okay. And now, what does the process look like out there? Is this something that the individual property owner approached the board and said, hey, this is what I want, this is how I get there, are you okay with that, or
Yeah.
what's that look like?
The owner approached Mr. Becknell, who owns the golf course, and they negotiated, this 1/10 of an acre, we'll call it, and arrived at a price and went ahead and did it. Mr. Becknell agreed to draw down the open space, accordingly.
Yeah.
We've provided all of those, the parcel maps and a new Exhibit E, as we call it, that tracks all of it's a spreadsheet that tracks every parcel of Sandestin.
Okay. So Mr. Becknell owns the golf course, it's not under the HOA or?
No, it's under the declarant.
It's under the declarant.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the lakes are under the SOA.
I see.
Right.
They're responsible for that maintenance.
And they own the lakes.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
This is a minor development. I will go ahead and open it up to the public. Anyone who has any technical comments, questions, concerns, please come on up now.
Hey, Tabitha Howard. I was just.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I was just going to see with this, are you enforcing the 1984 settlement agreement standard to this project?
Because
Because you have a court order saying that the NOPC is invalid. And,
when was that court order issued?
I guess, was that with the thing with Allen, February the 12th, is that the thing with the judges?
I don't know.
Yeah. And also, because in 2014, also, you had a statement of fact that it was out of compliance back then, and there's not been much to remedy that.
What was out of compliance? And what,
That, the
2014?
DRI Sandestin.
The entire DRI was out
Yes,
of
it
compliance
was, yeah,
with the
in
original approval?
2014. Yeah, Walton County had a statement of fact that it was out of compliance.
With the
Because it
original-
was, because they couldn't build at that time.
But they have been building since that time based on,
Based on altered land development code.
an altered land development code? Isn't the DRI what they're being held
It's
to?
out of compliance.
According to our code or according to the state?
According to the state code, if it were enforced, the 6.1.
Who enforces the state code?
Walton County should be.
Okay, continue, please. I don't have an answer to your
That's all, I
question.
just wanted to know, are you enforcing the 1984 settlement agreement standard to this project?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask the applicant.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all, thanks.
Dean, will you speak to the question that Ms. Howard raised,
Sure.
please?
The 1984 settlement code put in place the 6225 DEP criteria, and yes, we meet
Stormwater.
that. Excuse me?
For the stormwater systems
Yes,
there?
sir.
Yeah.
Right. And also the settlement agreement, I'm not an attorney, I don't keep up with that, but as I understand, assuming that the 2017 NOPC is invalid, the 2016 NOPC would prevail. And so there is an NOPC that we operate under, and we meet the criteria of both the 2016 and 2017 NOPCs.
So the settlement agreement in 84, is that the date that Ms. Howard was speaking to?
Yes.
So that settlement agreement was specifically related to stormwater, or was there other issues that were raised in that agreement?
I don't recall all of the particulars of the 84 settlement agreement, what it addressed, but in particular, I assume she's asking about stormwater. And I know for a fact that was the 6225 criteria.
6225, does
Right,
that
the
sound?
DEP criteria.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Ms. Howard to come back up just to clarify. Ms. Howard? Is that what that settlement agreement was in your understanding about stormwater and the 6250 6225 standard? Is that your understanding as well?
Just based on what Dr. Harper, what he agreed with, what it should be, and it should be enforced with the 1984 settlement agreement.
Bless you.
The stormwater,
Right.
not the county land code that you have it at that, what the whole county is, but
Right.
it,
So, and I understand your concerns about Sandestin, and I appreciate them. You know, I agree that we should all be involved with these things. But I'm having a little bit of trouble connecting this .07 piece of golf course that has nothing to do with the stormwater and that agreement.
I just want to be on the record that,
No, and I understand. I'm just hoping that you can make that connection for me, because I'm just not seeing it. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Howard. Is there anyone else? Seeing none. Rosanna, what is staff's recommendation here?
The staff's recommendation would be to conditionally approve this moving forward, and yes, we do, this is in compliance with the 2017 settlement agreement, not pertaining to stormwater. I don't review the stormwater, but everything outside of that from that 2017 agreement is what we do consider.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Howard, come on up.
I'm just curious, this 2017 settlement agreement, is that the one that the SOA was forced into, that the county made, that, you know, they had the big lawsuit over? Is that the 2017 agreement?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah. The-
2016, the NOPC was approved. The SOA objected to the NOPC, so there was a settlement agreement. Then it was codified in the 2017 NOPC.
Okay. So does that answer your question, Ms. Howard?
Yeah, but the 2017 settlement agreement honestly hasn't been held to as it, there's a lot of things that I think that Sandestin Investments agreed to. The agreement should probably be null and void at this time. but-
I'm unaware of that. I'm
Understood, okay.
not aware of any discrepancies. Actually, the SOA and SDI are seeing eye to eye these days.
Understood.
Basically, the settlement agreement tells them they have to see eye to eye.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Howard. Anyone else? Anything else? Committee members, do you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about this?
I don't think so. Such a small area.
It is a very small area, but nonetheless. Nothing? Okay, we have a recommended motion.
Motion to continually, conditionally approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this project will be conditionally approved to move to DO upon successfully addressing any outstanding comments upon receipt as well of environmental comments. Thank you. Next is the Water Sound Beach Phase 3D improvements. Item number 6.
Yes, this is the Watersound Beach Phase 3D improvements. It's a request to approve by development order. It's project number MIN 25-000136. This is a minor development order application submitted by Dunlap and Shipman on behalf of the Watersound Beach Community Association. They were requesting to amend the Watersound Beach Phase 3D to consider an alternative material for replacing the boardwalk within the community on 12.8 plus or minus acres. It has a future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of coastal center. The property is located in District 5, south of East County Highway 30A, and it's east of Salt Box Lane West, and identified by the parcel number in your staff report. If you could please enter the staff report into the record.
So entered.
This application is in an effort to remedy an existing code violation for the replacement of the boardwalk. There are only planning comments and the code violation. As far as the staff report goes, I think there may be some clarification from engineering, I think, too. I'm sorry. We did review this, so I did have one question whether this, first of all, if this DO is specific to Salt Box Lane or the entirety of the Phase 3D. But I will let the applicant speak to that.
Is that not clear in their narrative?
It's not really clear, so if we're just changing the material on Salt Box, or if we're allowing the alternative material to be the entirety of that phase. The boardwalk was actually approved as part of their development order in lieu of the sidewalk, so it was alternative material to the sidewalk. It doesn't explicitly say in the PUD what materials they have to use. So it does bind them to covenants and restrictions in a design code, but it wasn't explicitly stated what material they should use in lieu of the sidewalk. So that was approved as part of the development order, which I have attached to your packet. I did also provide,
Hold
sorry,
on.
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. So the current request would amend the development order,
In the development order.
but not the PUD.
Not the PUD. It doesn't specify what material are required or allowed or to be used as part of the in lieu of the sidewalk, which is typically required by our code.
Okay, so we did speak about this early on in this application. And I determined, based on the language in the code referring to non-substantive amendments to a PUD, that this should be a minor.
Yes.
What I'm
that's
hearing now
correct.
is that we're not actually amending the PUD,
It
we're
doesn't-
amending the previous development order.
It doesn't appear that language is in the PUD. This was early '03. I can't put my finger on that particular language outside of the development order. So, so we do need clarification there.
And the applicant will give that to us, I suspect?
Yes, I know there are covenants and restrictions that do specify boardwalk and the maintenance of the boardwalk. So it is definitely in their covenants and restrictions, but as you know, we don't enforce covenants and restrictions.
That's correct.
So that's kind of where we're at.
Understood. Continue, please. I interrupted. Thank you.
Oh, no, that's okay. I did want to make sure that there were some public comments that were submitted. If those are entered into the record with the staff report, please.
So entered. Thank you.
Unless you have any other questions, I don't know that I have anything else to add.
I may, but
Okay.
I'll go ahead and ask if anyone else has questions for staff currently.
Just the clarification about the project extents, Saltbox Lane. That one.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is an important component to get to. Okay, well, we are here now, and there is quite a bit of public interest in this. So we're not going to turn around now, are we? Thank you, Rosanna. We'll hear from the applicant.
All right, good morning. Robert Kaufman, attorney with Dunlap and Shipman on behalf of Watersound Beach. With me this morning, Melissa Ward, planning consultant with Dunlap and Shipman and certified planner. Also George Hernandez and Sam Harper, who are owners in the association, members of the current board of directors, and John Nash with O'Connell Engineers. My primary role this morning is really just to introduce you to Ms. Ward, who's going to present the bulk of the details. The request is specific to Phase 3D of Watersound Beach, as Ms. Ward will discuss in a little more detail. And I'll also...
Is this the project area? Can you confirm? Okay.
Yes, I believe that's correct from what you were showing, but we've got some blow-up boards here that we'll pull out in just a second.
Okay.
I did want to just start, before we get directly to the technical comment, which is what we're here for, of course, but to frame this with a history. This is, as you heard from Ms. Edwards, we're here to resolve a pending code violation notice. The history is that you have the original at-grade boardwalk specified in the original Phase 3D development order for Watersound Beach. There was a tripping incident and a threatened lawsuit in 2020. There were street side trees planted in this part of the community that, of course, tended to grow, and the root system grew over 10, 15, 20 years. It was making the boardwalk uneven in a number of places, presented a safety hazard. And the board of directors at that time in late 2020, early 2021, not knowing that it was a county approval issue, I don't think there's been any suggestion otherwise, determined that rather than cutting the roots, removing trees, the best thing to do would be to use a different path type, which was the Bahama rock crushed shell type material that is still currently in place.
And that was considered to be a better alternative than the boardwalk?
That is correct, by the board of directors at that time.
Okay.
So, and that was done with prior notification. Again, not that it's relevant to county standards, but that was done with prior notification to the owners in Saltbox Lane. Looking at the board of directors meeting minutes, there was one gentleman who showed up, and according to the minutes, he requested that the boardwalks only be replaced in a certain location. But otherwise, there were no objections from the Saltbox Lane owners at that time. And the HOA doesn't have any record of objections from within the community until we fast forward to late spring of this year, when a code violation notice was issued at the request of an owner who is here tonight, or this morning I should say. I'm used to being here at nighttime, who is here to speak in public comment.
Let me just, for my own clarification here, so on February 19th, 2021, these are the approved minutes from that board meeting that you were referencing?
Yes, that Ms. Verson submitted as public comment. I believe she submitted those minutes. That's correct. So that was implemented. I believe the actual construction was at the end of March of 2021. As I mentioned, no objection until this spring. Once the HOA received the violation notice, and our office, we're general counsel for the association, but we were asked to review this. We verified that the change in path type did receive, or rather require, approval from Walton County. We came here to address the issue. The code violation notice gave two options. One was replace the boardwalk. The other was seek approval for the alternative path type, which is why we're here this morning. So, to be clear, and I think you know this from the application, though, Watersound Beach is not seeking approval of the current as-is installation. That was the other public comment, other than this person. There was a gentleman who said he doesn't approve of the current installation. That's not what they're seeking approval of. What they're seeking approval of is the engineered design. Again, Mr. Nash is here, who can speak to that, with the stabilization. This is a crust shell type path material with stabilization, which, as Ms. Ward will show you, is already an approved path type in Watersound Beach Phase 3D per the original development order, just not in this particular location on Saltbox Lane. That's all the request is. So that is the 30,000-foot view, and at this point, I'll ask Ms. Ward to come up and speak in more detail.
Thank you.
Good morning, Melissa Ward, Certified Planner with Dunlap and Shipman, representing the applicants, which is the HOA for Watersound on Saltbox Lane. I want to reach over here and get these site plans. In particular, this is an image of the area of Watersound. This blue line right here, it's about 450 feet. That is the area for this development order. This is it. It's the only piece.
So, is that the only location throughout this particular phase of the development that has been converted from the boardwalk, or are there other portions?
So as a reminder, we are here because there was a code violation issued in this 450 feet space.
Okay.
We have not addressed any other concerns in the rest of that development order status. We are not looking at anything but this property. So I haven't done any inspections of the rest of the community.
Okay.
I won't testify to that.
Understood.
Okay. This site plan is from the original development order, and what I'm showing to you here is a highlighted section which has 6 different path types that were approved in the original PUD and transferred down to all the other development orders. As you can see on this site plan, this is our section of salt box right here, that was a flushed boardwalk. Meaning that it's a boardwalk that's built and made out of wood, but it lays flat on the ground. It's not elevated. That was put in, give or take, 20 years ago. And after 20 years, the tree system has grown and then created issues with the boardwalk, just moving the boards and making a tripping hazard, which is what precipitated in the 21 decision to take it out and put in the gravel because they had a trip and claim, right? Okay. I wasn't involved in that. I didn't know anything about it until we got this code case. This image is simply to give you on the design plan another idea of where this is. It's just this estimated 450 feet on both sides of the road. So one of the conversations that was had one of the comments is that it's a highly traversed area. And what I want to make sure that we're clear of is that the areas that people come in, as is anticipated by this development, this is the entranceway in the beginning, and the association building is up here, right here. This is where I parked when I went to the site. This is Salt Box. It goes all the way down to the center, the beach, the amenities. This comes all the way down here. These still have boardwalks. These are, I know this because we went down there, but we also had some imagery down. This is boardwalk all the way down here. This is also Salt Box over here. We're not touching that either. I don't know what's on that street. Just for clarity, right? I'm pointing because I'm looking at it, but you see this is the way down to the amenities and to the beach. It is a boulevard.
What is, if I could just ask, so Saltbox continues through,
A lot of the road is salt blocks out there.
So, and I'm trying to orient myself. So the south side of the subject, it goes through whatever right of way that is. I can't make it out on my screen.
You're talking about this right here?
Yeah, what is at the tail end, on the southern end of that
No idea.
portion of Saltbox?
I didn't go down there.
Okay.
My apologies. This is where the complaint was made. This is what we are addressing. If we need to do a further assessment, we'll have to do that. It's up to you guys. This is the plan that we submitted showing the area, which clearly delineates where the area is that we are addressing. So the comment, which was a surprise to me that you were not sure where we were talking about, and I understand that the narrative may have been unclear, so I'll fix that in our resubmittal. But this is the area of our development change. The options that were provided was to make sure that what we were talking about was stabilization of an existing path type. And so, go ahead.
You mean the options that we're being provided with now, or the options
The
in
proposal.
the original?
The
Okay.
proposal in this development order application are for stabilization purposes. The original plan has on it crushed shell without edging, crushed shell with edging. It has a flush boardwalk, a raised boardwalk. I don't remember the last one. But the flush shell without edging is an acceptable path that is within the PUD, but it was not on the original plan for that area.
Speak to any reasons why that is?
Well, when they designed it, they designed the sidewalks. Some of the sidewalks or area is. I'll show it to you. Hang on. So the diagram here shows that the area on this sidewalk here is boardwalk. This is still flush boardwalk. This was designed for flush boardwalk. It's delineated that way based on this legend over here. This is pavers. These are raised pavers. This is it's just a design that they decided to use as as they developed the site plan. This is grass. So behind these houses are alleyways. This is how they park. They don't come in to their lot this way. They come in here and they pull in behind it. So this is pedestrian only. It's not really a driving access. The same on this side. They come down here and they come back around and come in from behind. So
Melissa, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that we're thinking about this in the same way. We have received a number of images that identify that right away as being traversed by multiple vehicle types, including utility and.
My
garbage
apologies.
stuff.
The
Okay.
road is accessed by cars. I'm talking about the path. They don't cross over it to get to the house.
The path itself.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Just for clarity,
Yep.
this is vehicular and this is just pedestrian only, AKA there's no driveway cuts on the front side of these lots.
Understood. They're all rear accessed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So your question that I was trying to address is what different things are where. The ones that are crushed shell without edging are typically around the ponds. It's just a walking path so that you could take a leisurely stroll around the ponds. And we know that they had the elevated boardwalk in the areas where they were wetland predominant so they could raise them up and not have to do any dredge and fill or anything. And the flushed, this is the main boulevard here, and that there is a flushed boardwalk here along this path. So they have different ones in different places.
So I feel like there may be a bit of a pattern there, though, right?
I don't disagree.
So it seemed like they originally designed where that should go based on where they thought heavier foot traffic may exist, and then where it wouldn't, they allowed for that other alternative material?
Because it doesn't say it that way, I can't testify to that. I won't testify to that. Let me just say too,
Understood.
that the situation that we find ourselves in is that, and we submitted, or there was a submission of an arborist letter that explained the damage to the root system for having to do the flush boardwalk. You have, I know you thought you had.
No, I feel like I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was like, oh, he's got a question. So this was a solution that the HOA took based on the arborist's information that they had at the time. The problem is
But,
they,
I'm sorry, at the time in 21 or
whenever they
today?
voted for it and reinstalled and
Okay.
took it out and installed the other.
Okay.
So the that was, I mean, that was part of, as I was told, that was part of their decision process.
Sure.
So our request today, getting back to that, is that the crushed shell with or without the edging, it was designed to have a layer of sort of a mesh underneath, but that mesh is not stability. That's to keep the shell from taking too far into the soil. So what we are proposing, and our most predominant feature that we're asking for, is to use that grid pattern system that has edging on it and put the crushed shell in it so that you can move it around and spread it out around the root system, allowing the root system to thrive, so that the path is still good and stable for pedestrians, for strollers, for wheelchairs, whatever, but it's stabilized instead of out and letting material flow out into the roadway.
Can you speak to the base material of that product? What does that look like?
Hang on, I may have to have John do that.
And I thought that may be the case, but thank you, I'm okay.
Let me look. So the base material, it says number 57 rock base or approved equal blah, blah, blah. It has native soils and it has a barrier in between. We can talk to it.
Okay.
I can speak. We were asked to provide a more, John,
Good morning.
we were asked to provide a more stable pathway.
Yeah.
Expanded metal material that allows you to put rock in between it. We've done it in several places where we've had pervious pavement, that kind of thing, pervious parking areas. The base material is a compacted subgrade, and then you just put the rock in there in this expanded metal. The value of it is that it both stabilizes that area, and it gives you some maintenance opportunities in the future. When the roots grow some more and it moves around a little bit, you can cut pieces out, you can add new pieces, you can add some more rock in there. It gives you more flexibility than a boardwalk, which a boardwalk, when the root system grows, it just pops the boards, and then you're replacing large sections at a time, and only to have to do it again.
So you said a compacted subgrade. Is that the natural subgrade, or is that material that's brought in as part of the system?
It's basically the natural material that's compacted.
Okay.
It's just for pedestrian use. It's not designed for vehicular access, so
Sure.
weight capacity is not much of an issue.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Sorry, Melissa, I just keep interrupting you, but please continue.
The answers are here. We're just trying to provide them.
Yes, ma'am.
So with regard to the comments, we had a comment on providing a traffic impact analysis letter. It had been submitted in the less than minor. I believe it was submitted again with the minor because we elevated up based on your interpretation. And so we will respond to that by saying, here's the one we submitted earlier, which was approved by the engineering department. So the next comment that we had was to delineate specifically, and I realized that what I need today is to revise the narrative to be very specific to the location of this development order, as it is specific to the code violation. It also, there were some notes that Mr. Nash will have to make on the engineering plans regarding the Bahama Rock, and those are the comments that we have. So I feel like we can satisfactorily address all of those comments in our revision and supply the additional information that they need for that. I'm looking forward if there was any notes that I needed to address. I think that really does state what it needs to be. I would, I think that covers it unless you have any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a minor development. I will go ahead and open this up to the public. Who has any technical questions, comments, or concerns, please come up.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Shirley Verson. I've been a resident of Saltbox Lane for 20 years now. I bought my lot in 2006, actually bought the home in 2006. So I have seen the path of Saltbox and understand from that time frame the traffic path that goes down Saltbox Lane in the particular area they're talking about. This is a bit of an eye chart, so I'll walk you through it. This is the entire community of Water Sound. So it consists of the main area, and you've got, I submitted packets ahead of time. Do you have those? And do you have copies?
we do.
Okay. So this is the main area of Water Sound here. There's 3 other neighborhoods. So you have the Crossings condominiums, you have Bridges neighborhood, and you have the Peninsula neighborhood. So there's about 40% of the homes are on this side, and about 60% of the homes in the main Water Sound area. Now, the path that we're talking about, so the red in this area is all boardwalks, as she probably showed you. It goes all the way down through the crossings. And yes, there is a pathway here that goes to the Dunesider Pool. There are no connectors from this Water Sound Way area, main pathway, to Saltbox. So they're 2 independent roadways that get people from one point to the other. At the top here, at the entrance, you have most of the main amenities of the community, which is the fitness center, the restaurant, post office, HOA. You have a bike rental, playground, putting green is where this leads you to. You also have a hotel owned by St. Joe at the front of this property. The other main amenity that this hotel offers on a complimentary basis to all their guests is the beach club, which is right here. The path to the beach club, which is, again, offered by the hotel, is through Saltbox Lane. If you go over to the hotel and you ask them about the amenities, they'll explain all the amenities. I've got a brochure here. And one of the main things that they talk about is the beach club. And when you ask them how to get to the beach club, they tell you right down Saltbox Lane. Go out the exit of the hotel and go right down to the pathway. The pathway here from Saltbox takes you right into it. It even says entrance to beach club right here into the beach club area. So you have all this traffic.
Ma'am, I just want to ask a question.
Sure.
So I'm seeing in the drawing, there's a portion after the yellow hash line,
Yes,
and it goes down to that corner.
yes.
What is at that corner? Is that a right-of-way, an intersection of right-of-way, or what is going on there?
It's an intersection right here. So it is boardwalk. It was boardwalk here. So this is what's been taken out. Boardwalk here, and then boardwalk that goes right across into the hotel, into the beach club.
So what is, and I'm trying to orient myself here.
Sure.
I'm assuming that would be northwest at that intersection. Is that a right-of-way or is that a park? What, I can't quite tell what's going on.
This is an intersection, so this is Yacht Pond, and then this is Saltbox. And this continuously takes you to the Compass Point condominiums.
Okay.
So if you keep going down here, it'll take you to the Compass Points condominiums, which then takes you to the Dunesider Pool.
And is there access to that path at that intersection to the west?
To the way. This way?
Yes.
No.
There's not access
Well,
there.
there's streets, but there's no sidewalks.
There's no pedestrian access.
Exactly. So there's no pedestrian access in any of these areas that go from Water Sound Way to the Saltbox, to this pathway. So from the development order, it was clear to me, because these 2 pathways had boardwalks, that it was designed that way because they knew those were the access points within the community. It just, for 18 years, these boardwalks stood. In 2019, there was a reserve study done, and I actually included that in my packet, where it labeled the boardwalks as in good shape. So it was the next year that this tripping happened, there is no visible root structure. If you walk along these paths, there are no visible root structures. If there was, the solution they're recommending would be pushed up, and now people would be tripping over the metal. The raised boardwalks, which I also submitted in the packet, seem to be, from all the people we spoke to, even the landscaper who actually submitted that document, that raised boardwalks, which, by the way, populate this entire area. I didn't highlight all the boardwalks here, but in the crossings area, it's all raised boardwalks. Why? Because of the trees, because of the sand. So Water Sound community is very used to putting in raised boardwalks. The problem we have here is, and you probably saw the pictures, you probably saw the video, there are so many safety issues now happening here because this is a main thoroughfare. People with strollers, disabilities, they cannot walk on that gravel path. If they put another gravel path in, it's going to be the same dynamic. And it's a narrow street. It's sometimes two trucks can't even pass each other. They have to pull over. So to have pedestrians sharing the street with these big trucks or even just regular vehicles is just a danger. And again, this was in place for 18 years before they decided to pull it out. Now, what was interesting is if you go down this area right here, which still, this area right here, which still has the boardwalks. So they took out Saltbox Lane, but they kept the boardwalks on this side of Saltbox, this area, and this side. If you measured the trees to the pathway, it's 15 inches on where the boardwalks are still there. And by the way, they were just recently put down.
What do you, I'm sorry, I was confused there. What do you mean by measure the trees, the distance from the current path to
The tree
trees?
stump. Yeah.
Tree stump.
Yeah.
What, do you mean like a tree that's been cut, or are you talking about just in general? That's the
The
distance?
same size tree that's on this area here.
Yeah.
If those same size trees exist in this area where there's boardwalks and this area where there's boardwalks.
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that there is a continuity that exists outside of where they replace that with the trees and the boardwalks that are currently not creating the same issues or tripping hazard?
Correct.
Okay.
And in fact, they just newly laid flush boardwalks next to those trees. And those trees are a 15-inch distance from the newly laid boardwalks, where with Saltbox, the edge of where those boardwalks would start is 36 inches. So on Saltbox Lane, the trees are even further from the boardwalks than they are in places where they still have boardwalks.
Okay.
So again, it really comes down to safety. It comes down to aesthetics. Most of the homeowners on this lane bought based on the look and feel of these sidewalks, and now they've been removed. The other issue is that back when they were, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to approach that comment. Do you have any sort of indication that that is an accurate statement as you presented it? Do you have some sort of survey from the folks that live on that, or?
Good question. So I submitted in the packet a petition from 80% of the homeowners who live on Saltbox Lane that are against and were against these boardwalks from being removed. I know they said that there was no objection. There was plenty objection when these boardwalks were removed. It just didn't appear in the minutes. All of these homeowners that signed this petition all said in the beginning they were outraged. They called the CAM. Nothing was done. They were ignored until we intervened. We finally got a petition going, and again, 80%. Now, I know you don't regulate CC&Rs, but just to say, CC&Rs say 75% before any common area is changed. 75% of the entire community needs to approve it, not just be alerted to it, but approve it. And then 75% of the affected homeowners need to approve it. So it's like a double. We got 80%, and that more than suffices the CCNR requirement. And again, respectfully, I know you don't regulate.
Right, and I just want to approach that just a little bit more because I want to make a little bit more of a distinction, I guess, that, so I understand what you're saying in terms of the 75 versus the 80 and how that played out. But I do just, again, want to reiterate that we do not, enforce or otherwise take part in any of those
Right.
activities. So
I understand.
is there a concurrent sort of civil proceeding that you all have begun in that respect?
Not yet.
Okay,
So it's really based on this decision.
understood.
So the question is again, this community has public access. They have public access, even though they have security at the front gate. They have public access through this public restaurant. There is nobody stopping restaurant patrons from coming through and eating, going to the beach club, or touring around the area.
And the restaurant is that green dot that you have?
Yeah, the
Okay.
restaurant's right here, Bruno's Pizza. Also, the hotel has access. It's a public entity. It has public access to the entire, and again, I'll leave this brochure behind for you, but all of the amenities specified are Watersound Beach amenities, and especially the beach club is number 1. And this is the access point. The other thing to note is that this is a rental community. It's a short-term rental community. Almost 40% of the homes rent their homes on a short-term basis. On Saltbox Lane, 75% of the people rent their homes on a short-term basis. So it's very transient public that is coming through this community. And that's why this is so important, because a lot of these people with strollers, and they're guests of the community. They could be the public coming in. So this is my story. I worry about whenever I see, and I showed you a number of photos with strollers, people pushing strollers, even just walking in the street with children, with big trucks going by. It's just a hazard waiting to happen. And it doesn't need to be, because it's, as Melissa said, it's a very short area. It's not very big. This community has over $8 million in cash it's not a hardship to put in safe boardwalks. And it seems like the best solution to protect the trees, to protect the pedestrians on this main thoroughfare is raised boardwalks. That just seems to be what is proven throughout the community is being used to accomplish that.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Verson? Did I say that right?
Let me.
If you would, just please give a copy to the clerk, please. Thank you. And it may not hurt to go ahead and scan one in and get uploaded and get it to Rosanna for the record.
Okay, yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
is it in here, Rosanna? Okay, thank
That
you.
was the second one that I.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the public wishing to speak on this? Come on up, sir. I do just want to make a point, just because I understand that there is some contention between some folks in the neighborhood and perhaps the HOA board. So I just want to be clear that I will not tolerate any he said, she said, anything
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Sam Harper. I've been an owner in Watersound since 2009, so 16 years. I actually owned one of the cottages on Saltbox Lane for 4 years. I'm currently on the board. I was elected in October of last year, so a little over a year. I've been on the current board. I just want to emphasize that I think Ms. Verson's primary concern has been stability of what was put down in place for the boardwalks. And I think what our engineers have designed is a stable solution that would allow people to walk, to push, carriages, strollers, whatever. That section of Water Sound is unique because of the oak trees that form a canopy, the overhanging oak trees. And I think most of the owners, not just on Saltbox Lane, but throughout Water Sound, value those trees and that look very much. It doesn't exist everywhere in the community. So I understand why the board, 4 or 5 years ago, decided to pull up the boardwalks to protect the trees and to prevent the tripping hazard. And I think, like I said, that the board, our current board has tried to come up with a solution to stabilize a walking path as opposed to what's there now, which is just the Bahama rock that's kind of loose. So that's the main point I want to make, is that I feel like we've achieved the goal of preserving the trees while eliminating the tripping hazard and creating a stable pathway. I do want to address some of these issues of how busy Saltbox Lane is, that stretch. The hotel, which is the Water Sound Inn, has 11 rooms, 11 units, so it's not a big property. The majority of owners, I don't know if any of your maps are available, but one of the ones maybe shows the entire, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting over something. My voice is a little hoarse. Yeah, so the entrance is up here, right? And Water Sound Way is the main thoroughfare. So Saltbox Lane is this little stretch here, which is about, of all of Water Sound, is about 3.9% of the dwellings. Of just this section, it's about 6%. But anyone that is coming in to their home or a renter that's renting someone's home or condo, the vast majority are going to drive in and, drive down here or turn right. It's just a very small section of people that are going to come here, is the first point I want to make. And then once you get into Water Sound, if you do want to go, over to the beach club, you're not going to come all the way up to Saltbox.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you answer, and maybe you can't, but what would you say the percentage of the entire portion that is visible is short-term vacation rented?
So like Ms. Ferguson said, overall it's about a 40% rental rate.
I think she was speaking specifically to that right-of-way, and she said 75%, if I'm not mistaken. But you're saying that overall 40% of the units are potentially an
Yeah, I think
STVR?
she said that 75% of that little stretch is Saltbox. We refer to these as the Saltbox cottages. They're a little bit smaller.
Okay.
They are heavily rented. So she was saying that 75% of that section, but overall, if you were to analyze Water Sound overall, it's about 40.
Okay, thank you.
That's including.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no worries. So, it really isn't this major thoroughfare to get to all the amenities. I mean, like I said, you come in, I own currently one of the Compass Point condos, which are down south. I would never turn left onto Saltbox Lane to get to my condo. And like I said, the majority of homeowners are going to come in and either go straight down or go to the right. Water Sound is a very quiet community. It's gated, and the truth is that very few sections of Water Sound have boardwalks behind. I'm going to say behind because most of the houses, the garage. Anyway, it's very common to see people walking in the streets in Water Sound, pushing carriages or walking, because the system, the boardwalk system that is in place, isn't necessarily to accommodate getting from to like the amenities. It's just not how it was designed. So I guess just to summarize, and also I do want to refute one thing. Ms. Verson said she got 80% of the homeowners to say they wanted the boardwalks replaced. Well, when you have votes in communities, you just get one vote per household. So she's counting husband and wife. So there's only 19 homes there. It was only 13 of the homes that she got to sign the petition, which is actually only 68%. But even like those are CCR issues and stuff, but it's not really the point today. I just would like to summarize by saying I think we've come up with a solution that her primary complaint was not being able to use the current path because it's not stable for strollers or walking, and so we've tried to come up with a solution that is a stable path, and it's actually a type of path that was approved in the original plan, and it preserves the trees. It doesn't do it. You don't have to cut the roots and potentially damage the trees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up, sir.
Good morning. I'm George Hernandez, reside in Watersound Beach. I've lived there since 2000 and been a resident there since, a homeowner there since 2012. We completed our home in 2016.
You're fine.
Sorry,
No, I'm just still kind of like the last gentleman. I'm getting over something gunky, so.
Yes, I'd like to just, I think, reiterate some of Mr. Harper's comments that Watersound Beach is predominantly was designed as a walkable, bikeable, golf cartable community. And since this issue has come up, I'm a new member to the board, being elected in October of this year. But prior to that, I've been involved in the board meetings as a interested homeowner. But when this topic came up of late, I conducted a walking tour of every street in Watersound Beach and measured the distance of every one of those streets in Watersound Beach. And
What do you mean by distance? Are you talking about the width?
no, I'm talking about the length. So there's approximately 3.5 miles of streets in Watersound Beach, the main section. And of those,
This is the main section.
This is the entirety of the main section. Mrs. Verson referred to the bridges and the peninsula, which are separate and distinct sections of Watersound Beach.
So west of those portions of the site is the main area that you're talking about right now.
I'm talking about the entirety area.
Right, got it.
Including Saltbox Lane, is approximately 3.5 miles. And of that 3.5 miles, there is less than 1/2 of 1 mile that has any kind of sidewalk on it.
Any kind of sidewalk.
That is correct.
Okay.
Any kind of sidewalk.
Are you talking specifically like a concrete or asphalt sidewalk or
No,
any
I'm
material
referring
that's
to-
allowed in the PUD?
I'm referring to flush-mounted boardwalks, which, as was noted earlier, if I could. Which begin at the main entrance, Watersound Way, and go north to south down to the Dune Cider Pool. Okay? That is currently flush-mounted boardwalk. There's a portion that is still flush-mounted boardwalk here on East Saltbox, or the eastern section of Saltbox. This was the former boardwalk section that is now the crushed stone,
What is? are
which
you
is the
referring
section
to
under
Saltbox?
consideration.
Saltbox.
Yeah, the 450 feet. And then there's a small section here that is also boardwalk.
Okay.
Those are the only wooden flush mount boardwalks, sidewalks, I'll call them, on the sides of the streets in Watersound Beach. There are other products. For example, from Watersound, from Founder's Court, headed westward to Boatwright Way is a crushed shell walkway, and there are amenities along that direction, including the dog park, the kids' playground, and then eventually Puttering Park, which is a putt-putt park, and a picnic pavilion, and now a bocce ball section. So I say that to reinforce the opinion or the fact that Watersound was designed to be predominantly walkable. The traffic, the main traffic patterns is that entrance is through the main entrance on Watersound Way, and most of the traffic will continue due south on Watersound Way and then break off at the first intersection, which is Yacht Pond, and that would take you to the east and the west. And then the second intersection is Boatwright, which would take you to the east and the west. And so there's relatively very little vehicular traffic on the 450-foot section of Saltbox Lane that is under consideration today. I'm not proposing or suggesting that there is no vehicular traffic, but there is less vehicular traffic, according to my observation, than there is on most of the other roadways within Watersound Beach.
Can I ask you, sir, do you live on Saltbox?
No, sir. This is just my observation.
Do you use Saltbox to traverse the development site often?
Actually, I'm a avid walker and runner, so I traverse every street in Watersound Beach quite often.
How many miles you get in each day?
I've run 101 marathons, if that answers your question.
It does to an extent, yes, sir. That's impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. Irrespective, though. But I think that's my point, that yes, there is certainly traffic on Saltbox Lane. My observation is it's minimal, but the whole community was designed to be walkable, bikeable, and golf cartable. And then I'd also add, and I think it was noted earlier, that the 19 homes that are on that section of Saltbox Lane all have rear load garages. So the shortest distance from the main entrance to those rear load garages is actually not down Saltbox Lane in front of the houses, but Matticat Lane going to the east or to the north and the south, which would go around those houses to get to those garages.
Right, and that's typically sort of an urban design feature for these type of neighborhoods to separate, right, pedestrian and vehicular traffic.
Exactly.
Understood.
No more comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No, ma'am, I'm sorry. You've had your chance. Thank you. Yes, that is fine.
First off, my name is Harry Verson. I'm an owner for 20 years in Watersound Beach, and I do have a property on Saltbox Lane. The comment that was just made by Sam, that there was only 13,
13.
there's 14.
Okay.
All right, just
And again, I understand. I understand the nature of that document that was submitted. I understand the nature of that. This issue specifically related to CC&Rs and those sort of things.
There's a lot of contention.
And I understand that, so I just want to be clear that we need to avoid that
Not gonna get
side
into
of
it.
this. Thank you.
Point I want to make that I don't think has clearly been made is that when you look at the main complex, the whole design of this path was to get to the boardwalk, the beach club, and to also provide access from these main communities, the bridges, the crossings, and the peninsula. There's a boardwalk that permeates throughout that entire area. It comes into the beach club, and they come here. I don't know how many times, including board members, I've seen come right past the cottage on Saltbox Lane to get to the main amenities here. And these are significant amenities to the entire community. People walk a lot, and this has always been a major pathway. Just not now, but for 20 years. 20 years. And the traffic that traverses through here is very significant because you mentioned 11 rooms at the Watersound Inn. Well, that's times 4 or 5. These are 2-3 bedroom properties during the entire rental period. In the mainstream of, say, from March through October, you're probably looking at 50 to 60 renters per week that live in those properties and go back and forth to the beach club. You do not go to the dune side. I beg you to call the Watersound Inn to find out where their renters go.
Do you short-term rent your property, or are you
Yes,
guys
we,
full-time?
we short-term rent our property.
Provide any golf cart or?
We have golf carts.
you allow
Everybody in
renters to do
everybody in
that?
the community has golf carts to get into, around the community and also to the pools, and to the beach, to traverse through the sand dunes and so forth, which are all boardwalk as well. And that's a lot of traffic as well.
Is there golf cart parking at all these different individual places?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So, but even Saltbox is a heavily traveled golf cart area because they use it to get to the beach club. Beach club is a big center point meeting place for the entire community as well as people that rent the Watersound Inn and so forth.
I suspect so.
And I think that's why it was designed this way. The mainstream is Boardwalk, which is Watersound Way, and Saltbox, which is another. There's a reason why they didn't put boardwalks out here. These are all very large homes. They have boardwalks that go through back-to-back neighborhoods or houses that sit parallel to each other, and that's how they get to the beach, through those boardwalks. So that's why there's no sidewalks on the streets. So a lot of the people at traffic trying to get towards the beach or towards Dunesider are using those boardwalks to get there. And I'm talking about the parallel in these communities that you don't see here. So there's a lot of boardwalks here to alleviate traffic on these streets as far as foot traffic.
Sure.
And that's the truth.
I do have one question. Are there other pedestrian paths that are of similar material that's being proposed?
No. None. I don't understand why we're at this point. We're only talking about 450 feet. We have, as owners, we have no problem with an elevated boardwalk. The HOA has a tremendous amount of money. This is a hiccup.
Well, and I understand that concern as an owner. It is not, should not be part of this conversation in keeping with the coffers of the HOA and things like that. That's not part of this application, not a concern from the county's perspective.
But it's my frustration.
I understand.
Okay.
Anything else, sir?
No, that'd be it. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else? No, I do appreciate your attempt to correct, but no. Seeing no one else, I will allow the applicant to approach any of those comments as they seem or deem fit.
All right, thank you. Well, there was a lot there in public comment. What we didn't hear was any identification of any provision in the code or the comp plan that this is inconsistent with. Obviously we respect the opinion of all the community members. Having been to a lot of the HOA meetings, I don't think it's accurate to say that there's a huge issue in the community. We did hear from Ms. Verson. I want to point out she's not an engineer when she's speaking to the competency of the engineered stabilized design that we've presented to you. Ms. Verson didn't testify that she has any personal knowledge of the development intent of the St. Joe Company, who's the developer of Watersound Beach. I also want to point out that the public comment was calling for raised boardwalks. Raised boardwalks would require an amendment to the current development order as well. That's not the approved path type. And we could call it Mr. Nash to speak to this, but there are physical configuration problems with raised boardwalks in that location leading into the front door to the house. You have to do that. You have to have ramps. There are other issues with raised boardwalks. You were correct in your comments just now. It's not a money issue. It's an issue of the HOA believing that this is the best design for this particular location. You heard some conflicting statements regarding foot traffic and vehicular traffic, which we think are irrelevant because the engineered stabilized design we presented will accommodate pedestrian traffic as necessary, including things like strollers to keep people out of the streets, which is the design. And I think in keeping with this being an approved path type in the original development order, I did two things briefly. I brought Director Dice's determination from 2015 in case I needed to remind you all that you don't enforce private covenants. It's very clear I don't need to remind you all of that, but I don't want to leave a bad taste in your mouth either. It's not entirely correct what Ms. Verson said. The community covenants don't call for a 75% or 80% owner vote for any changes. They talk about discontinuing facilities or equipment within the community. We're not discontinuing a facility. Maybe if the walking path, the sidewalk was being taken entirely, you could call that a discontinuation of a facility, but that's not at all what's being done here. There's a lot of talk, again, it's not really, I don't think, a relevant technical comment, but regards to the quote-unquote Watersound Inn, and that building that you drive through, or drive under actually, to get into the main road of the community going north-south Watersound Way. We call that the Gatehouse. It's actually an 11-unit residential condominium. St. Joe retains ownership of those units. They rent them out as they call it the Watersound Inn, but it's just 11 condo units that are being rented out to short-term vacation renters. It's not actually a hotel, notwithstanding the fact that a St. Joe, or I think a St. Joe subsidiary, operates that kind of as one unified operation. You heard talk of like, well, the people at the commercial operations can walk through. That's not accurate. Those are commercial condominium units. They have no rights to use the amenities within the facility. So if someone from Bruno's Pizza wants to walk down Saltbox Lane to enter the beach club, they're a trespasser. They're not allowed to be there. We're just talking about 11 residential units. But we think those comments are, somewhat beside the point here. We believe that the proposal here and the proposed solution is consistent with the original development order. We're just seeking the application in a different location, and it meets all the technical parameters within the code and the comp plan. And unless Ms. Ward would like to add anything, I think she does. So I'll leave it to her to wrap up unless you have any further questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. The last thing I want to say is that the crushed shell with the edging is the type that's already approved. We're asking to be able to stabilize it and use it in that location. So the concerns about it being a heavily traveled path, this would be a solution since it does have a stabilization effect.
Can I ask, do you all have, or have you sought an arborist's opinion or
Yes.
information based on the proposed
Yes.
mechanism?
As I earlier testified, we have a letter that explained that the disruption of the root system would kill the trees or cause, at the very least, significant damage and it would need significant repair. And so that was submitted, but I will attach it to the narrative as an exhibit. So I feel like there's a few things that maybe have gotten lost in this submittal process.
So, but I mean, I understand that, right? That the trees are important to the folks that live there and anyone, I'm sure, traversing that pathway. The proposed mesh or system that is
If it is a
design
request,
there.
if I can just cut you off real quick, if it is a request to get the input of an arborist on what we're proposing.
If there's not a request coming, I was just curious if that was done.
Well,
I'm interested in what that material or that system could do to these trees. I'm just
As
out
of
of
today, we
curiosity.
did not ask the arborist to inspect what we were doing to ensure it, because the engineers, the information that we got from the material and the engineers' comments are this is less invasive, so we can have we can send it out and have them take a look at it.
I'm not asking you to do that. I was just curious if you had any comments from an arborist on this particular brand of path mechanism, I guess.
We have not.
Okay, understood. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee, we've heard a lot of information. You guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, just in general? No? Gene?
Aesthetically, I was just curious, because the aesthetics of the community, you have boardwalk coming down, then you're gonna have crushed shell, and then you're gonna have boardwalk again. And me, I was a contractor for years, and the aesthetics of the community gets a little bit taken away by that.
So I had that same thought, just in terms of continuity of the material, the pathway. I think that they both end at a right-of-way intersection, so it's not like you would have, a shell path and a boardwalk coming against each other based on what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems to be the case. No, sir, thank you. We've ended public comment. But that was one of my thoughts too. Anything else? No. So I'm going to say some stuff here because I know that this is important to a lot of folks in this particular community. We don't have a clear demonstration in the record as to why this path was placed at this location, walkway or raised boardwalk or whatnot. I believe there's been an attempt to explain some of that based on some of the submitted documentation in terms of, again, sort of that continuity. But there's not an established reason in the record. There's not anything in the Land Development Code that speaks to this being necessitated by any means. I have some concerns, but my job, our job here is not to act on hearsay, right? We're bound by the code and the comprehensive plan and previous approvals, none of which speak against this particular material, despite some of the testimony given here. I guess maybe not testimony, but public comment. I do have a question just in general, and I will ask you back up. One of you folks, or potentially the applicant. I'm just curious if there are designed future improvements or considerations for replacement of all the boardwalks in this community. There's not. Okay.
To our knowledge, that hasn't been discussed by the board of directors, no.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there. You know, I think I feel a bit like, you know, it's this situation, I think, is going to rest in a matter outside of the TRC because, again, we are bound by the code and the comprehensive plan and the previous development order, which is now being requested to change, which was not specific as to why this was at this location. But I am cognizant of that continuity of aesthetic in that surface. So that being said, unless there's anything for you all to add to those comments, I'm going to ask Rosanna to come up and give us our recommendation.
I do agree with what you said, that I understand the concerns of the community, and it may potentially set a precedence in that community for other pathways in there. However, they are requesting an amendment to the development order, so I would recommend that we conditionally approve it pending final decision of the director moving forward.
Thank you. We have a recommended motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Gene, did you say aye? Thank you. This application will be conditionally approved, or is conditionally approved to move forward pending successful address of all outstanding comments. Next item is it Back Bay? Yes. Back Bay Live Work.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
This is request approved by development order project number MIN 25-000-131. It's being reviewed by myself. This is a minor development order submitted by Jenkins Engineering Incorporated on behalf of Colt Development LLC, requesting to develop 12 platted parcels to be utilized as live and work units on 10.11 plus or minus acres with future land use of residential in the zoning category of neighborhood infill, and the properties located in District 5. The parcels located on the west side of South Church Street, approximately 1,550 linear feet north of US 98 South Church Street intersection, and can be identified by the parcel ID number in your staff report. Mr. Chair, there are a number of outstanding comments from planning, environmental, and engineering overall. Some of the engineering comments appear to be pretty significant. Not just a quick possible fix. Mainly, if you look at number 26, I highlighted it that staff does not feel that this is in Connie's best interest to take on ownership of the subdivision stormwater system or roadways. The other comments, engineering comments about the traffic impact analysis, that the use is going to need to reflect more of the proposed use so they can come up with a traffic flow. And floodplain also has for later on a conditional letter of map revision, CLOMAR, to be required for building permit issuance and an approved LOMAR for certificate of completion.
Bob, will you go ahead, just for the folks in the public, explain what a LOMAR is? Or at least expand on that.
So it's going to be a letter that's applied for to do a map revision of the floodplain, and it'll be reviewed by the federal review agency, and then they will determine whether they agree with the change or if it needs to stay the way it is.
Thank you.
So overall, I've gone over some, and there are also some buffer issues. Also, I spoke to the applicant. As you are aware, there are quite a bit of public comments on this. I received late in the process after the staff report was published a question about the easement that goes through the property. How did they incorporate that whole approximately 10 acres with that included or without? The applicant will agree to address that. May I enter the staff report in the record, please?
So entered. And
if you don't have any comments for me, can I turn it over to the applicant for further discussion?
I have a couple questions. Do you all have anything for staff? No. So has this been previously platted?
I believe it has been platted, but I will double check with the applicant.
Okay, just based on the blurb, and maybe even that comment as it relates to maintenance, ownership of the utility or infrastructure there. Now that to me speaks to that, but yeah, let's ask the applicant that.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I think I had one other one, but no, I'm
There's a lot of concern, as you see, with compatibility and the location of this next to other uses. So that I will leave that for the applicant to address.
okay. Are there abutting developments, or is that state land? Or
Well, there's state land and there are other developments.
To the north?
So, yes, so the comment about the state land buffer and the mosquito control ditches have been put into the comments.
Okay. Has there been a resubmittal on this, or is this still the first submittal?
I believe this is still the first submittal. I haven't had a chance to check today if they've resubmitted, but I will let the applicant address that.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome, sir.
Did we enter the report?
Yes, we did.
All right, thank you.
Can we do it again? Just
So entered, Bob. Thank you.
Good morning, Christy Jones with G-Kids Engineering. Thank Bob first off for giving kind of a little overview. We are very aware that there's a number of comments outstanding. We have not completed a resubmittal at this time. We want to reach out to specifically get with specific departments, number one, engineering, and speak to the comments that they had. With respect to the right-of-way, we had previously, and we've reached out, haven't gotten a response, previously asked about that right-of-way is intended to be dedicated for the road to run as an additional, like a back road to Highway 98 from Church Street through Hewitt, South Hewitt, I believe. That's the future hope of that, is what I understood as like a previous conversations with Public Works.
I see.
And so that has not been confirmed since these comments, I will say that. We received that comment and then reached out and have not heard back, so I can't answer to that at this moment on if it will become private a private right of way or if it will be dedicated at this point. And then we do have several comments on buffers and things like that. I do want to address a couple of things on citizen concerns. I did read through the comments this morning. A couple of things I want to just clear up. Someone had asked, is it going to be a part of the Florida Live Local Act? And it is not intended for that. So that is a no. Someone addressed it.
Wouldn't be here now if it was. So.
Okay. The project, it was described as 40 plus units as a project development, and that is not what is intended. It's 12 parcels, so it's much less dense than that.
And just for clarity.
Sure.
So this is designed as, all of these lots are designed for a live-work situation.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
commercial or some sort of business opportunity on the bottom.
Yes.
With a living unit above.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And then there's a comment about density. Specifically, the project is recommending or submitted as 12 units, and that's 1.2 units per acre, which is less than the base density. The closest applicant, or excuse me, bordering is 17 units to the north, and they are 10-acre unit. So we're less intense than that at this point. With respect to answering the questions on traffic, we've reviewed some of that, but we do want to get with Wyatt in engineering and make sure that we're headed down the right path on what he's looking for on that to change it from what we had presented previously. There were many comments that there was no stormwater report or no traffic provided in these comments from the community. However, both of those were provided. Maybe they weren't made available at the time that they made the comments. I'm uncertain, but they certainly were provided. The stormwater system is for the right-of-way, and then the parcels internal would be responsible for their own development order and stormwater system internal. So that is the intent. Go ahead.
So I believe there's a section of the code that requires new subdivisions to maintain their stormwater in common area. Is it the contention of the applicant that these lots exist and that would not be an appropriate standard?
That may be the case. The stormwater that we designed is laid out in common area. The internal parcels would, although there was an area of overlap that was mentioned in engineering's review, that we did come internal to a parcel. So there has been a shift internally on the plans at this point. Okay. It has not been submitted. So it will come out of the parcel itself. It would stay solely in common area.
Do we have, and I don't mean to cut you off here, have you all received all reviewer comments thus far?
I do believe so. With the staff report, we got the last planning comment, so yes.
And you have received environmental comments?
We have this at this time, yes.
South Walton Fire?
Yes.
So you're ready to resubmit in terms of our side of things?
We have received everything from you guys, yes, correct. And so we wanted to reach out to the department directly, have conversations, and then finish and finalize.
I see. Okay.
And I will also state, we are running concurrently. We've submitted to Florida Power and Light, which owns the easement, or has, through the easement in the middle of the property is 2. We have submitted the plans to them, and we've also submitted to regional utilities. So we are working simultaneously with you and them to try and manage this all at the same time.
Okay.
I do want to answer the question with respect to, did we count the full acreage for the parcel when the easement runs through? And we did, and the way we see that is that the owner still owns the land, the easement, or the land below the easement. So we didn't count it towards the density calculation that we did.
Okay. And the intensity, I see that that's still missing, but you guys are working on the FAR?
Correct,
okay.
Yes. And just to update you, it is less than the 50%, or it would be listed as less than 50%, because the parcels are not going to be built out. We will basically list it as a maximum is 50% FAR.
Per lot?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that it? I didn't.
It is.
Okay.
I think so. Outside of any questions that you guys might have, I'm certain.
Do you have any questions?
I do. So the proposed stormwater system for the road, does that include compensatory storage?
It does not at this time, and that was something that certainly will be accounted for in the resubmittal. Mm-hmm.
I see that the sidewalk is on the north side of the right-of-way there, the proposed right-of-way. Is there a reason why it's not on the south side where the units would be abutting the pedestrian way?
The thought process is that that would be a thoroughfare for pedestrians to carry forward and just have a pedestrian access away from the traffic and make the cuts into the driveway that way. I mean, there's no particular reason that it was chosen on the north versus south.
So did you all submit a buyout request for the southern portion?
No, we did not.
I will say that I think it would be more appropriate to have the pedestrian access or pedestrian way on the south side of that right of way. That it makes more sense to me from a pedestrian vehicular conflict sort of perspective. So please consider that in your request for buyout.
Okay.
If you want to submit something for the north end, I will certainly entertain that request.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's, anything else? No. I'm seeing a lot of work that still needs to be done here. And respectfully, Bob, I'm just gonna request a 30-day continuance.
And I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Absolutely. We appreciate that.
all right. Can I have a motion to that effect, please?
Motion to continue for 30 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
That was gonna be my recommendation anyhow,
Good,
because of
Bob.
the holidays and the concern with Public Works.
Yes, sir. Are you on this last one too? We got Wolf Creek
Yes, sir.
PUD?
Yes, sir. This is Wolf Creek Residential Development Phase 2, request to, whoops, wrong one, sorry. Wolf Creek PUD, request to approve by final order, project number MAJ 25-000051 is being reviewed by myself. This is a major development application submitted by Sage Entitlements on behalf of C&R Freeport Properties LLC, requesting to develop 1,923 single-family dwelling units on 988.02 plus or minus acres. The project site has a future land use of rural residential in the zoning category of rural village. The property is in District 1, is located on the north side of State Highway 20 East, approximately 6 miles from the intersection of US Highway 331 South and State Highway 20 East, just east of Windswept Estates, and is identified by the parcel number in your staff report. Mr. Chair, there are a number of outstanding comments that need to be addressed. The applicant can go further in depth. I just wanted to go over that previous actions on the site was MAJ 24-000015. Phase 1 previously approved 329 units. Phase 1 units will be served by well and septic. Phase 2 to Phase 6 will be served by central water and sewer service. May I enter the staff report into the record, please?
So entered.
And may I turn it over to the applicant for further discussion?
Any questions for staff before? All right, thank you, Bob.
Good morning. For the record, Tina Ekblad with Sage Entitlements.
Morning.
I think Mr. Baranti did a good job of summarizing the project. I do just want to hit on a few items in terms of clarification. Yes, it is 1,923 units overall. However, that existing development order for Phase 1 included 329 units. That's in that total count. And we do have the detailed of Phase 2 that is immediately following the conceptual PUD. That phase includes the spine road that interconnects State Road 20 to Don Graff. And then we are continuing to work with the city of Freeport regarding the central utility connection and getting that agreement organized and signed and submitted to the county, demonstrating central water and sewer service for the development.
Great.
With regard to the outstanding comments, we were here at the last TRC meeting. I did resubmit to respond to GIS and stormwater management and request those comments be pushed into the detailed PUD. They are not required for conceptual review. And we did respond to engineering and traffic We got right-of-way comments, I think, Friday, and we responded to those Monday. So at this point, we are not aware of any outstanding issues, but we're happy to answer any questions or comments that may be available today.
So it's the applicant's contention that all the comments have been addressed in a resubmittal. We just haven't had a chance to review that resubmittal thoroughly.
Okay. We did notify the staff reviewer that we uploaded. They have not responded. That was Monday. Today is Wednesday. So, you know, we understand that a little more time may be necessary, but we also understood the comments to be more clarification than substantive issues.
Sure. Understood. Can you speak at all to the time frame for the utility provision, that agreement, or is that still just up in the air?
So we had it's November 19th, there was a meeting that was held in mid-October where with the property representative, the city of Freeport, and then the legal representatives from both, there was a verbal agreement. There has been an outline drafted of what needs to be included in the agreement sent to the city of Freeport's attorney. We wanted to make sure that we encapsulated all of the comments. So I think we're on the right track. We would anticipate that being provided before going to the BOCC, but to tell you exactly when it will be executed, I don't have that information.
I understood. I understand. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Can you clarify at all if Wyatt has reviewed that resubmittal and or where we're at in terms of our side of things?
Yeah. I believe he has reviewed it. He's just finalizing his comments, and he should be in touch shortly.
Okay. Are we comfortable conditionally approving us to go to the planning commission with those comments being resolved?
I think we're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I do want to approach, I know last time I spoke briefly about a land development code text amendment relating to conceptual PUDs. There's been some internal conversation, and I think that I was confused in some respects because I was utilizing an outdated version of Chapter 1, anticipating that had been updated since the quasi judicial process was approved and adopted. There may in fact not be a need to provide that amendment. So that's still kind of getting worked out. I'm not going to take that comment back entirely, but it may in fact not be necessitated here. So I know that wasn't necessarily I hope it wasn't interpreted as a requirement or a continuance based on that. It was just simply a statement of what I thought was fact at the time. So I just want to put that on the record that while it may not be the case, it may still be, but I don't want this to impact the pathway of this development, at least not from my perspective. That wasn't a requirement, so I just want to be clear. Being that we have no questions, comments up here, I will ask Mr. Baranti for his recommended motion.
No public comments?
I'm sorry, Ms. Howard, I didn't see you sitting there behind Bob. Do you have any comments on this one? Yeah, we're just busting at the seams, aren't we? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I concur what the applicant said about the submittals. I've seen the emails, and I know engineering is working diligently on those. So the other comments seem to have been addressed and can be controlled before they go to the planning commission. With your approval, I would recommend a conditional approval pending successful resubmittal and then move it to the planning commission. But I would like to I'd just like to make sure that everything is taken care of and buttoned up before we move it to planning commission, then the magistrate, and then finally to the board of county commissioners.
Okay, so your recommended motion would be to conditionally approve?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I will say, based on your comments, Ms. Ekblad, in terms of the utility agreement having been, I think, finalized prior to BCC, I think that may be important to have before the ALJ hearing.
I don't disagree. I forgot about that step because it's so new. So thank you for that.
That's right. It is new. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
It was my interpretation that because of the short month and the holidays next month for PC, I was thinking that possibly do both the QJ and the planning commission in January, plus to get more time to get the agreement in place before then.
So absolutely, whatever we can do in that respect to double up meetings, I'm happy to do. As soon as my last thought came out of my mouth, though, depending on how the ordinance change goes, this is, for all intents and purposes, a legislative item, in my opinion. So unless I hear otherwise, it may not go to the QJ hearing. I don't know. That's kind of part of my sort of internal conversations that are ongoing. So there is some clarity that's needed there, and I apologize for not having answers to that now. But as soon as we figure that out, I'll make sure that I get with you, Bob, so you can let the applicant know.
But that was, I guess, to add, that was kind of my idea about the January, because obviously before we blink, it's going to be December, and December is going to be a short, busy month, and they can button up the rest of their stuff, and then we can move it January through the process a little bit more efficiently than kind of starting and stopping and rushing just to button up everything and have everything.
Well, I don't want to, pigeonhole or tie the applicant's hands in any ways, but I am absolutely an opponent or proponent of moving this thing forward as quickly as we can, in keeping with our normal timeframes and of course the holidays. So,
If I may, given that it is November 19th and you would have to advertise what I think is a December 11th planning commission, I don't think we can actually meet those advertising deadlines, so we don't have an objection to being in January.
okay. Yeah.
And then we can determine
We'll have an answer
final
by then.
steps
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
needed to
Absolutely. Yeah.
possibly the extra. So if that's fine with you, that would be fine with me.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make that part of the motion, just based on, I don't want to set anything in stone in that respect, but yeah, if January works, we'll get it there, and we'll try to get you on the board at that time too, if that's the way it works out. Okay? All right. Well, we have a recommended motion for conditional approval.
Motion to conditionally approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. This Wolf Creek conceptual PUD is conditionally approved to move forward pending successful address of all outstanding comments. And that's it. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
We are adjourned.